Good morning, everybody. As you can see, Mr. Hartley is here with you today. Mrs. Rogalin will be back tomorrow, and then I will be back on Tuesday, back with you for the rest of the school year. So you should have finished those three graphing worksheets that you kind of went over with Mrs. Rogalin. She will check those in tomorrow when she gets back. So Mr. Hartley does not need to collect them. She will check those in and give you your completion points for those when she returns. You should have gotten your notes from the folder at the front of the room. We will fill those in. We will be using Desmos today, so make sure that you have your Chromebook out and ready to go. Obviously, you already do if you're listening to this. You should have Desmos up on your Chromebook and be ready to use that. Mr. Hartley should also have passed out a worksheet for you. At the top of it, it says Graphing Polynomial Functions, Basic Shapes. It's two-sided. There should be 10 questions on the front, and we are going to be focusing on the front today. Okay, we're just going to do the front, meaning tomorrow you will be doing the back with Mrs. Rogalin. Okay, so here we go. Graphing. Polynomial. What's a polynomial? A polynomial is just basically an equation. Okay, it has lots of terms. It could have exponents. Okay, but a polynomial is just an equation. So you guys have done lines and you've done absolute values. Today we're going to do polynomials. So if you are graphing a polynomial, it will be continuous, meaning there will be no breaks or holes. It will be smooth. With rounded turns. It will not be like your absolute value one, where you had that come to a point, that v came to a point. These will have smooth, rounded turns. If I ask you for the degree of the polynomial, all that means is the highest exponent. Don't worry, we'll be going over examples of these. Okay, if I ask you for the number of turns in the graph, how many times does it change direction? In order to do that, you take the degree and you subtract 1, and that's how many turns the graph will make. Okay, I am going to be asking you to determine the intercepts. And you should realize that that means the x and y intercepts. Okay, and obviously you've talked about the left-hand behavior and the right-hand behavior. Okay, so let's take a look at our worksheet, and I'm going to be going back and forth here between Desmos and my notes. Okay, so let's see if I can kind of get rid of this guy over here. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at your first problem. Oh, I'm sorry, I've still got these notes to go over with you. So we have two types of functions. We have even functions and we have odd functions. Okay, so if I say it's an even function, that just means the highest power is even. Okay, it's even, meaning 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, the leading coefficient. Now you should remember that the leading coefficient is the coefficient that's out front. It is leading. It is on the highest power. If that leading coefficient is positive, that means both ends will be facing up. Okay, meaning the left-hand behavior and the right-hand behavior should be increasing. If the leading coefficient is negative, meaning it starts with a negative number, both ends will be pointed down, which means the left-hand and right-hand behavior will be decreasing. Folks, this is true for every even function. Either both ends will be facing up or both ends will be facing down. Now, if the highest power or the degree is odd, it's called an odd function. Okay, so leading coefficient. If the leading coefficient is positive, that means the left side will be pointed down and the right side will be pointed up. Okay, they are pointed two different directions. The left-hand behavior will be decreasing, the right-hand behavior will be increasing. If the leading coefficient, if it starts with a negative number, that means the left side will be pointed up and the right side will be pointed down, meaning the left-hand behavior is increasing and the right-hand behavior is decreasing. Now, in the past, we used to have to do this on graphing calculators. You have to type it in to this big graphing calculator, but we are going to be using Desmos. Okay, it makes it super easy. You type it in and it basically does it for you. Okay, so we will use Desmos instead of a graphing calculator. So here's the first problem that we are going to type into Desmos. Now, before we even type it in, I can answer a couple of these questions. Number one, the degree. The degree is the highest power. Well, the highest power that I see here is 3. So the degree of this thing is 3. Now, the notes that I just gave you told you how to calculate the number of turns. The number of turns is the degree minus 1. So if I take 3 and subtract 1, I get 2, meaning there will be 2 turns in this graph. Okay, so let's switch over to Desmos, and we're going to type this thing in, and we're going to see what it looks like. All right, Desmos. Here we go. I have f of x equals x to the third. Remember, you have to get out of that power by pushing the over arrow, minus 4x squared, and then plus 7. Okay, so this is what my graph looks like, folks. Notice number of turns, meaning it's going to go from turning there once and it turns there. There's my 2 turns. Okay, now the first thing that my notes ask you for is the left-hand behavior and the right-hand behavior. So what does the left side of this thing do? The left side goes down, it decreases, and the right side goes up, it increases. So I am going to go ahead and put in here that the left side is decreasing and the right side is increasing. Okay, so we have decreasing and increasing. Okay, the next thing I'm asking you for is the y-intercept. So if I go back here and look, where does it cross the y-axis? Boom, right there. It crosses at 0, 7. So all I need to do is type in here, or write in here in your case, 0, 7. That's my y-intercept. Next, I have the zeros. The zeros are the x-intercepts. So I got to figure out where this thing crosses the x-axis. And you'll notice Desmos is super nice for you. It gives you those points right there. And I'm just going to have you go to 1 decimal place. So I have 3 of them that I need to write down. So this will be negative 1.2, because I'm going to round that 6 and make the 1 go up to a 2. Negative 1.2 comma 0. The next one is 1.8 comma 0. And the last one is right here, 3.4 comma 0. And that's the information that I am asking of you for all of these questions. Okay, so that's all I need from you for number 1. Okay, let's go on, and I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit here, so let's go to number 3 next. Notice I have the same questions over here. I can do the degree before I even start. The degree is the highest exponent. Then I have my number of turns. The number of turns is the degree minus 1. So again, this will be 2. So my degree is 3. in my turns, there should be 2 turns on this graph. So let's go to Desmos and let's get rid of our old graph and type this one in. So I have f of x equals x to the third minus 9x squared plus 24x and minus 15. So there's my graph. Again, you'll notice the 2 turns. It goes and it turns there and it turns down here. So let's answer our questions. My left-hand behavior is decreasing. My right-hand behavior is increasing. Decreasing. And then my right-hand behavior is increasing. Okay, next I want to know the y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it looks like I'm going to have to move this a little bit until I can find it. Maybe zoom in a little. Where does this thing cross the y-axis? Looks like at 0, negative 15. Okay, next I'm asking for the x-intercept. So if I go back here, let's zoom back out and kind of scroll back up. It only crosses the x-axis, it looks like right there. Okay, so that'd be 0.9, comma 0. And that's all there is to it, folks. Okay, moving along. Let's go to number 5. You notice my equation up here, so let's do the degree. The degree of this thing is the highest exponent. The number of turns. This time my number of turns is going to be 4. Remember, it's the degree minus 1. Okay, let's go back into Desmos and let's get this thing typed in. And let's see what it looks like. F of x is x to the 5th minus 4x to the 3rd plus 5x and plus 2. Make sure you're careful typing these in, folks. All right, so you notice my left-hand behavior. No, actually, let's talk about turns first. We said this thing could turn 4 times. Here's 1 turn. There's 2 turns. There's 3 turns, and there's 4 turns. Okay, left-hand behavior is decreasing. Right-hand behavior is increasing. Okay, next let's look at the y-intercept. Looks like it crosses right there at 0, 2. And next let's look at the x-intercepts. I've got 1, 2, 3 of them. So this one here is going to be negative 1.6, comma 0. The next one is negative 1, comma 0. And the last one is negative 0.5, comma 0. Again, remember, I'm just asking you to do 1 decimal place, so make sure you round appropriately. Okay, let's do one more. We'll do number 6. This time my degree, highest exponent. My number of turns is the highest exponent minus 1. So let's see what it looks like. F of x is negative x squared plus 4x. So again, remember, my number of turns is only supposed to be 1. So there it is, my 1 turn. Notice that both sides are pointing down, so my left-hand behavior and my right-hand behavior are decreasing. Both of them. The y-intercept, 0, 0. The x-intercepts, I got two of them, 0, 0, and 4, 0. And that's all there is to it. So, those are all of the problems I'm going to do for you in your notes. Your homework is to finish the front of your worksheet. So that should be 1 through 10. Now, if you look down at the bottom, it says state the maximum number of turns of the graph of each function could make. So all I want from you in the bottom is just for you to tell me the number of turns. Okay. The rest of them all need to have this information that we've done on your notes. Okay. So degree, turns, left and right hand behavior, x-intercepts, and y-intercepts. Do not lose this worksheet. You'll be doing the back with Mrs. Rogalin tomorrow. All right, folks, thanks. Have a good day.